Okay, all right, everybody. So I wanted to set up some scheduling and show you guys what I've been working on. So if you come to the Facebook group here, you can go to our schedules and go to term 5. Okay, and so basically we're going to have the old schedules and we're going to have the questions pathway and the video pathway. So you're not even looking at old schedules. So the video pathway is traditionally what I have recommended for everybody. So if we open up the first exam, all right, so this is pretty familiar to you guys. This is the wrong one, sorry. Block 3, exam 2, this is the one. So this will be your first pre-dedicated term 5 schedule. So this is a pretty intense schedule. The first module has cardio on it, and cardio is one of the biggest subjects, both in boards and beyond, because Jason Ryan is a cardiologist, and just on STEP in general. It's very important. So what you'll see is I have the FTM review skipped for the first week. It's really important for STEP. It's not tested as heavily on SGU exams. So if you feel like, man, I barely pass SGU exams, I'm really not worried about STEP right now, like STEP is a far off problem, I'm trying to get my 73%, then you can skip the FTM stuff just to stay on track. But I really recommend doing it for anybody who cares about STEP at all because it's extremely high yield. So starting week 2, we have an FTM review. You can just link to that here. I didn't want to clutter the schedule, and it just has a day by day 1 or 2 boards and beyond videos and 1 or 2 picturizes with some first aid pages. So that's available there. All right, so yes, it's a lot. Blue moons do it first. FTM is really important. Also, yeah, this schedule is insanity, and nobody, including myself, really truly finishes it. You're trying to stay on track and do as much as possible, but if there's 1 or 2 videos that you don't get to, that's fine. Mental health note on the very last page. Please don't kill yourselves for this. So what you can see with the video pathway is it's pretty simple. So your goal is to watch Boards and Beyond and annotate this guy. By the way, I just got the 2021 copy, and I'll be posting TikToks and stuff with all the updates, so you guys don't have to, and you can keep your 2020 or 2019 or whatever copy you have. So the first thing you're going to do is cardio. Week 1, there's 43 videos. That's a lot. So I do have a couple branching over into the next week. You need to watch at least 5 videos per day. You can skip any farm or micro boards and beyond if you are good with the sketchies, right? The sketchies cover everything boards and beyond, so you don't need to do the boards and beyond. So I do start with a review of anatomy and physio because I think that PathoPhys has a big understanding of both of those. And I think that they're really important to review the basics, especially since it's been a long, long time since you guys have done cardio. So we start with some anatomy and physio, some embryo, some shunts, then we go into blood flow mechanics, all of those graphs that you guys love so much, some cyanotic heart conditions. Then we go into more Wigger's diagrams and venous tracing, a lot of physio. So if you see, I kind of try to put 2 or 3 physio and then 1 or 2 path just to kind of balance it out all throughout. So shock, pericardial diseases, etc. I also have the first aid pages broken up. You need to do 6 pages of cardio per day, preferably with a study group. The point of this is not just to read them. The point is to say, hey, can you explain to me what VSD is, and quiz your friends and talk to them, and your friend will be like, oh yeah, I actually got a question on how a VSD changes the oxygen saturation in the ventricles but not the atria, and you guys will discuss that. A little bit harder to do virtually, but setting up a virtual group is a really good idea. That should only take an hour or 2. And then we have your sketchy review. So sketchy, in order to get through all of them, you're going to have to do a bunch per day. These can be double speeded. These are assuming that you've already seen them before. All of these should be reviews. I tried to keep them in the theme of cardio. So like Coxsackie does dilated cardiomyopathy, so it's here. Triptans, although they're for migraines, have really severe cardiac side effects. They're vasoconstrictors, so I put that there. They're, vasoactive, that kind of idea. Renal is a little bit better, but you'll notice that I put another cardio video here because renal is a little bit shorter. Same thing with FTM review. Sketchy Path. Sketchy Path for renal is so good. I'd rather you watch all of those than even bother with the Boards and Beyond, because the Sketchy Path is just absolutely fantastic. And I did ask you guys to do that in term 4. So if you've watched the Sketchy Path for something in term 4, please, please, please watch it now. If you watch the nephrotic syndrome, you don't need to watch Boards and Beyond nephrotic syndrome, right? So if you check that off, you can cross out this nephrotic syndrome here. You don't have to do both. But you have to review all the concepts, so they can kind of cancel each other out. Poem is the shortest. It is important. It's your end of first aid book. Something you can really master because it is a lot shorter. Cardio is something that you'll probably struggle with forever, but poem you can get really good at. So once again, I have some of the cardio videos piling over just to make sure that they get all done and you don't kill yourself week 1. Lastly, hematology, same thing with the sketchy paths. The sketchy paths are amazing, especially for all the white blood cell cancers. So if you watch the leukemia and chronic leukemia and the porphyria picturizes, you don't need to do those Boards and Beyond videos. The memory hooks of those are always going to be stronger. Okay. I also have questions every day. Try and do a certain amount. We start up here with 25 to 40, depending on your workload. And you want to do your Anki filter deck. This is super, super important. Filter decks are how you, as I said here, best thing I did in term 5. There is a video here how to do it. There's a ton of information. Basically, the idea is, why do 400 cardio cards when you know 300 concept and don't know 100? You want to review those 100 concepts over and over again on the questions you get wrong, instead of the reverse. Okay, so you guys are familiar with these types of schedules for me. This isn't anything new. Okay, our second one, we're going to go back to term 5, and we're going to look at the questions pathway. So I designed this after tutoring a lot of you guys, after doing dedicated, after doing step 1 and step 2, and I kind of realized that I have this very negative personal trait where I have to learn everything before I do questions, which is the worst thing possible. Questions teach you more than everything else combined. So I'm really trying to, as I learned that for myself, kind of shift that towards all you guys who follow me for whatever reason. So I really want you guys to shift your thinking and say, all right, yeah, there's 43 Boards and Beyond cardio videos, and guess what? I know half of them, and I could watch all of them, and I could go do the questions and still get every question wrong. So why should I even bother with that? And honestly, I agree with you. So this is the alternative questions pathway. We still have the FTM review in here because, again, that's still super important, and we do still skip it the first week. So what would the first week look? So mine is based off of Amboss, or RX is okay. I prefer Amboss. I like it a lot better. I think it has difficulty levels. It's really beautiful. I would say View World until after BSE Block 1. You're not ready for it. Like, it's going to just make you sad, and it's way too hard. I like to tell everyone that, like, if you were starting to bodybuild or exercise, you wouldn't start with a 50-pound dumbbell, right? That would just be ridiculous, because 1, it's going to hurt. 2, you're going to be so worn out for the next day that you can't exercise for the next 5 days. And 3, just not efficient. What's best is to start with 10 pounds and then work up to it and then do 20. Starting with UWorld is like starting a bench press at 200. Like, you can't do that. It's just a bad idea. So start with Amboss, start with RX, and we're actually going to start day 1 with easy questions, right? So Amboss uses hammers for difficulty level. RX just says easy, medium, hard. That's fine. So Amboss has 41 one hammer cards, questions. So day 1 on Tuesday, your goal is to do 41 one hammer, super easy cardio, and make sure you understand the basics of cardio. Anything you get wrong is added to that Anki filter deck. Okay, that is your point. Your point is to learn that day the 41 most basic cardio things. Next day, we're going to two hammer. You're going to do the 40 of those. Next day, there's 40 more two hammer ones. So by Thursday, you've reviewed all of the easiest things. Okay. Friday, you get to three hammer, and Saturday, you get to three hammer. We're not worried about 4 and 5 hammer here. That's if you want to get a 260 on step in dedicated. You're not there yet. You're in term 5. You're just reviewing these concepts for the first time. So what do I do when I'm reviewing these? So I'm going to use the Boards and Beyond Sketchy Path Farm and Micro lists that I have on the drive to keep track. And every time you get a question wrong on something, you watch the video, right? So if you get a dilated cardiomyopathy wrong, you either have to watch the Sketchy Path or the Boards and Beyond, okay? Or the micro list, whatever it is, and you're going to keep track of that. It should take 1 hour to do the questions because you want to do them timed, and then it should take about 3 to 4 hours to review, and then 2 hours to watch the videos on the things you got incorrect. That's 7 hours a day plus your labs. So that's quite a bit of studying, but just so you know that you're doing the right amount. So every time I get a question wrong, I'm looking at the first aid, I'm watching a video on it, and I'm putting it in my incorrect deck. Okay, and that is how you figure out what you're bad at and work at what you're bad at while you're skipping the things you're good at. If you got 20 questions right on dilated cardiomyopathy, you really don't need to watch a video on it. I do have the first aid pages here still. I still think it's good to review all of them because it's pretty efficient and quick. I still have the sketchies here, but if you don't get anything wrong on digoxin, you don't need to watch digoxin. If you don't get anything wrong about hypertension meds, you don't need to do that. I think that there's still value in reviewing these, but when it comes down to timing, work on I figure most of your blocks you'll get about a 50% on, some a little bit lower, some a little bit higher. So there's about 20 concepts each day that you're going to get wrong that you have to review, which, takes a while. Again, please do the filter decks. The best thing ever. So again, cardio is the biggest topic. So the next week, we only have 30 renal one hammer and 32 hammer, 3 hammer. And since there's less questions, we'll even try and go to the 4 hammer. But since we're trying to keep around 40 questions a day, and I also want you to keep reviewing cardio, you're going to do 10 mixed cardio questions a day as well. Same thing. If you get it wrong, it goes in your filter, you read the first aid, you watch a video. Okay, so the same rules here apply, and I'll update these rules. First aid, 5 pages, your FTM review, sketchies are still true. Okay, again, watch them when you get them wrong. They're here so that you can find them easily, not so you can spend 8 hours a day watching videos. I still have to update week 3 and week 4. I think on week 3, I gave you a bit of a break and you only have to do 30 questions a day. And then week 4, we go back to doing 40, but I'm probably going to update that for you guys and just keep it 40 every day. Because if you're doing the question pathway and not watching all the videos, I think 40 questions is really appropriate. And then we just have a review on the week of your exam, week 5. Review your sketchies, your picturizes. They really, really are the best thing that you could possibly do. It's been 2 years since I took STEP, and I can still tell you everything about Coxsackie virus. I can still tell you everything about H influenza. I can still tell you all the symptoms of AML because of those sketchies, where if there's not a sketchy for something, I've definitely forgotten it long term. So that's just a quick video to kind of explain these 2 pathways and why you would use them. I am really trying to convince as many people as possible to do this questions pathway because I do think it's a better use of your time, but it does take a certain level of emotional maturity because it's not fun getting a lot of things wrong. It's not fun jumping in and feeling like you don't know anything. It feels a lot more correct to watch these videos and study for 8 hours and leave the questions to the end. It feels better. It feels like you're doing the right thing. But if you get to the end of the week and you can't do the questions, it really doesn't matter. So I'm trying to push you guys to challenge yourself in the same way that I had to learn for myself that questions was the best. You want to use the videos when you get something wrong, when you don't understand something, not just passively watching or annotating everything. So I will be this schedule is already up. You guys will be able to find it. Feel free to comment on this video on YouTube or on Facebook if you have questions or concerns. I can always update this as we go from people's experiences. And if this is really not for you, there's always the traditional video pathway. Just make sure that you're doing some sort of questions every day, but you're probably not going to be able to do 40, not properly anyway. So try and keep it more towards 20 and see how it goes. All right, guys, I just wanted to give you that update. Reminder that we still have tutoring available for term 5. Remember that we do not tutor for SGU exams, we tutor for STEP, but if you want to start prepping for STEP now, we will help you with test taking skills, and that's it. All right, thanks, guys. I will talk to you all soon. Bye.